Okay. So I hope I'm in the right spot. um, I'm very excited to be here with this TubeBuddy community. And I want to thank Andrew and I want to thank everybody here that is hanging out with me and hanging out here with the TubeBuddy community. And also TubeBuddy for bringing together this amazing group of live streamers. And for me, it's such an honor to be a part of. Hello, everybody. Okay, good. You guys are here. Hi, everybody. Yay. Okay. So we're good. So thank you all for being here. For the replay viewers, thank you for time to just hang out with me, but also most importantly, to take time out for yourself to improve your YouTube channel, to improve your chances of success on YouTube. So you guys are already a unique group of people because you are here live. You're taking the time to do this. So I just want to thank you guys. And also Andrew for moderating and TubeBuddy for just setting this whole thing up and for putting together this amazing group of live streamers. So my name is Erika Vieira. The Zero to Influence YouTube Bootcamp. It's an 8-week bootcamp that comes a year. It's geared towards women, entrepreneurs, women creatives looking to start and grow their YouTube channels. People of all different experiences from just getting started to well over 500,000 subscribers take part in this bootcamp. I also host the YouTube Power Hour podcast. It's a weekly podcast where I have had the unique opportunity to interview some incredible YouTube creators, people that have achieved massive success on YouTube. And I ask them some interesting questions so that they really dig deep and actually reveal what they've done to grow on YouTube. And I also have a private consulting leg of my business where I work one-on-one with entrepreneurs and business owners and creatives who want a little bit more hands-on creative strategy where I can help them grow their channels. Okay. Enough about me. I want to get into you guys. So I see there's a bunch of you guys here live, and I want to know a little bit more about you. See, I see some of you guys. Somebody here is from Bangladesh. That's amazing. But I also want to know what is your niche? What is your niche on YouTube? What do you talk about on YouTube? And also, how long have you been on YouTube? So a lot of what I teach is based off of my experience working behind the scenes one-on-one with so many people, entrepreneurs, business owners, creatives, looking to really make changes with their YouTube channels. And my goal here for you guys is to, yes, give information, give tips and strategies, but I want to help you start thinking a little bit differently about how you approach your YouTube channel. The way that I approach my students and clients is we really start building your YouTube channel from the inside out. Once you're able to get the inside right, once you're able to get the mental state right, then a lot of things just happen naturally. And you actually don't have to try as hard in a lot of the other aspects of YouTube. So, okay, let's see what we've got going on here. You do gaming, you've been YouTube for a year, fitness. Yeah, I've worked with a lot of fitness, SEO, cooking. I love that. Fun budget travel blogs. You've been doing it since July. Sailing life. Ooh, I love that. Gaming, gamers, tech, mukbangs, cooking, comedy. Wow, so many amazing vlogging as a single dad. I love this. I love that you guys already have such incredible niches. So I'm really excited to dive in with you. So let's get started with the 7 reasons why your YouTube channel probably isn't growing. So by the time a lot of times people come to me, they take my boot camps, they work with me on a one-on-one basis. A lot of times they've been struggling. They say, hey, I need some more help. I need some more assistance. I'm not getting to where I want to go, right? I want to get to 100,000 subscribers by the end of the year, and I'm just not getting there. Or I have this massive goal of reaching a couple 100,000 subscribers in 2 years, and I'm like nowhere near that. So this list that I put together is probably, if you're in that situation when you feel like you're churning out content, you're doing what all the experts are saying, you're uploading consistently every week or twice a week, you never miss an upload, but you just can't seem to get some traction, you can't just seem to get anywhere, then one of these 7 reasons is probably why you're not growing. So I want you, as you're listening to this, to really start thinking like critically about your own channel. Like, is this me? Could this possibly be me? and anything really does resonate with you and you say, do you know what? I think that's holding me back. Okay, so the first one, this is something that when we start digging deep, when I'm working with somebody one-on-one or when in my boot camps, we tackle this in like the first week or so. One of the things that really holds people back, and this is sometimes can be a very subconscious thing, but you end up becoming your own worst enemy, is fear. You end up operating out of fear. You end up making decisions for your channel and for the content that you create out of fear. And what I found is that there's different things that people are afraid of. And I'll go through them. So the first is fear of obviously what people are going to say, right? Fear of the haters, of the comments, of the negative comments. And you guys all know that YouTube is a place where the viewers, the people that comment, feel at liberty to say whatever they want. And sometimes it can be hurtful. And sometimes it really has nothing to do with you and what you're doing. This person's just having a bad day. And what people end up doing is they either do two things. They look at that, they say, whatever, they delete it, or they actually look at those comments and then they internalize it. And then it actually kind of creates this cycle where now they're going into their next video and they're thinking about what they're doing, but they're still thinking about those comments and they really let it get to them. And then they start making decisions like, well, I don't want people to hate on me, or, you know, why this particular YouTuber is not getting any hate, but I am, or blah, blah, blah. And, you know, why would this person say that? And then they start using and consuming so much energy in regards to these negative comments that it actually clouds what they're going to be doing the next time that they film, how they show up to camera, the decisions that they make about their channels and about their videos. The second thing that people are afraid of is this imposter syndrome, that they feel like, you know what, I'm not, in the back of their minds, they feel like I'm not necessarily qualified to be talking about this, or, you know, there's other people out there that know more than me. Like, who am I to be talking about this? And then that they start internalizing that, and then it kind of becomes this chorus that runs through their mind, and then that ultimately gets reflected in the decisions you make about your channel. Another thing is also that I found, which is very interesting, and this has a lot more to do with new people, is that, you know, they're afraid of friends and what friends and family are going to think. And so in a lot of ways, they're not being their true authentic selves because they're afraid that what coworkers are going to say, or someone's going to find them, or friends or family, what they're going to say about their channels. That's something that actually comes out quite a bit, especially with new people. And then the other thing that people are afraid of that I found is offending somebody, not taking a stand and offending somebody or something. So, you know, not really giving a really strong review about something because they're afraid that they're going to offend that brand, or, you know, they don't want that brand to look at them in a negative way. And what ends up happening is that you end up creating content that's a watered down version of really what you really want to do, because you're so consumed with making sure you don't offend people, offend your viewers, offend you know, companies or brands or whatever it is, and you don't want to take a strong stand. And that's the biggest way to get people to be uninterested in your content, if you're just not taking a stand. And these days on YouTube, you have to take a strong stand and have an opinion about something. Otherwise, you are doing yourself a disservice. You're doing your community a disservice. So fear is something that can also be very crippling. I'm trying to look at the comments as well here and go back and forth without losing my train of thought. But if the fear is something that for you resonates with you, then you'll leave that in the comments. But when it comes to fear, it can be very crippling, because what happens is that you're not coming from a place of being your true authentic self, and your true creative genius is not being fully realized because you're spending precious time and energy thinking about these things, these fear gremlins that are consuming your thoughts, and you're not coming from a place of your true desire to achieve your vision. And people that you see on YouTube, people that are true visionaries, people that are making waves on YouTube, people that are growing hundreds of thousands of subscribers, sometimes, you know, every couple months, they are true visionaries, and they don't allow these things to get in their way. Because if they did, they wouldn't be able to have those creative liberties to do what they need to do to be different, to stand out on YouTube. So fear can really be a debilitating mental block that is holding back the true genius of what you can actually do and achieve on YouTube. And one of my mentors, his name is James Wedmore. He used to be really big here on YouTube. He's not anymore. He really just spends time mentoring other business owners. But he always says, feel the fear and do it anyways. Like that fear is going to be there no matter what. That fear is there for all of us. It's human nature, right? We're always wanting to protect ourselves. And we want to avoid that feeling of fear. We don't want to make ourselves feel uncomfortable. But he always says that feel the fear and do it anyways. And also that the people who are really successful, business owners, entrepreneurs, that he recommends that you actually get comfortable with that feeling of being uncomfortable, and that the successful business owners actually end up craving this feeling of being in fear because they know they're at their edge or at their point where they're going to be doing something really great. And once they start getting comfortable, that's when things just become stagnant. Okay. All right. So I'm going to move on to number 2. So number 2 is reason that your channel maybe isn't going anywhere is that your thumbnails suck. So you guys here probably know how important your thumbnails are, but I just want to punctuate that fact and reiterate that fact that your thumbnails are crucial to the success of your YouTube channel. And a lot of times when people come to me and I'm looking and reviewing and critiquing their channels, their thumbnails are just mediocre. They might have great content, but if your thumbnails are not great, you are diminishing your chances of people actually clicking on and seeing the video. So your video, you might have an amazing video, amazing content, but if your thumbnail is just okay, no one's going to see it. And a lot of the people that I work with, the people that I've interviewed on the podcast who have millions of subscribers, someone like Karina Garcia, and she's known as a slime queen on YouTube. She's got like 7 million subscribers. She tells me that she actually will conceptualize her thumbnail before even creating the video. So as she's brainstorming her thumbnail, and I'm sorry, as she's brainstorming her video topics, she is coming up with her thumbnail. And she says she actually creates her thumbnail before even doing the video. So for her, she actually attributes a lot of her early success to the fact that her thumbnails stood out so much. And, you know, her audience is children. So she understands that and is appealing to the bright colors and boldness for children. And she says, because she spent so much, she said sometimes like 3 hours on her thumbnails, 3 or 4 hours, like legitimately she would spend that much time on her thumbnails. And I have another friend and somebody who I've had on the podcast a couple of times. Her name is Shay Whitney. She has over 600,000 subscribers. She's grown that in about 2 years. And she tells me that she actually she might come up with a bunch of different ideas, but if she cannot conceptualize or come up with a really, really eye-catching thumbnail, she won't even do the video. She says that she even has footage that she's filmed of videos that they're just sitting there because she's like, I cannot wrap my head around what thumbnail I'm going to do. And increasingly, people more and more are really spending considerable amount of times on your thumbnails. So what I want for you to do is and if this is something that you struggle with, is to not leave your thumbnail as something that you do in the 11th hour when you're waiting for your video to upload. Like you have to start thinking about your thumbnail early on. It's not an afterthought. It is just as important as the content that you create. Okay, so the next reason why your channel might not be growing, and it is related to thumbnails, is your titles, or your titles are boring. So your thumbnails and your titles work together to tell a story, but what they also do is they entice the viewer to click. The title has 2 purposes. One is that there's an SEO component, which is what we're here with TubeBuddy for, and what TubeBuddy does an amazing job with is helping you figure out that keyword phrases and your tags and all that. So that's an important component to titles. But what is also a very important component to your title is enticing the viewer. And what I find happens is people get so caught up in that SEO side that they forget to put emotionally triggering hearing words in their titles. So they end up with titles that are boring as opposed to titles that are really going to entice the viewer. So you want to add some words in there that are going to jazz up your title and really get someone to click. So, a couple, I want to make sure I'm not missing anything, but a couple examples would be, say, I work with a lot of women. So, there's a lot of beauty channels out there. An example might be a foundation routine for flawless skin. That's the title. But think about doing your title this way, like the life-changing, like 5 life-changing hacks for creating flawless skin with makeup. So adding a few of those emotionally compelling words are going to get people to click. And essentially the content in your video is the same, but what you're doing is you're presenting it in a way, and you're presenting the title in a way that is emotionally compelling, that's going to get somebody to click. And, another example would be styling tips styling tips for jeans, right? Something like that. Instead of doing like kind of what I did before, and lists do really well on YouTube as well, but 7 tips for looking like a supermodel in your jeans. Essentially, it's going to be the same content, but you're packaging it in a way that you're like, ooh, that's way more clickable. And I don't want to say clickbait, because clickbait has a bad connotation, but in a lot of ways, you have to use your thumbnails and your titles as bait to get people in. I think clickbait can get a negative connotation that you don't want to put something that's misleading. It's, put something out there that's not actually in your video, but you have to think about your titles and your thumbnails as bait. How are you going to get people to click on your videos? You've got to add some of those emotionally compelling words. And another thing too, and I have to mention this, and I'm sure you guys are probably aware of it, but the metric, the click-through rate, you have to pay attention to that, because that's giving you a strong signal as to whether or not your thumbnails and your titles are engaging. So if you got a click-through rate of something like 2, 3, 4%, you really got to work on that. You want to have a click-through rate of about, I'd say, at least 8%, 9%, 10%. I get the back-end analytics of a lot of my clients, and sometimes it can even go as high up as like 11% or even 12%, which is really great. So you really want to get up into that range. That's really sending yourself and YouTube a signal that your thumbnails and your titles are working. Okay, so the next thing, so we talked about your titles and your thumbnails. The next thing is ignoring trends, right? So a lot of people will get caught up in this, how to do this. But if you ignore trends, you're leaving money on the table. Trends is one of the fastest ways that you can effectively grow your channel overnight. And I'm not telling you to do a trending video for every single one of your videos, because some of your niches just aren't there, but you also want to make sure that your videos are relevant. So, trending is important, but also you want to make sure your videos are relevant and it's what your audience wants from you without even knowing what your audience wants from you. So it's so important to have your finger on the pulse of what's going on in your industry. And you can do this in so many different ways. I'm assuming that if you're doing a channel on something like sailing or gaming or whatever it is, like some of these amazing niches that you have, then this is something that you're passionate about. This is something that you're interested in. And therefore, it is your responsibility to your audience to be on the up and up on everything that's going on in this industry. Be in Facebook groups, know what's going on off YouTube, know what's going on YouTube. Subscribe to different people in your niche, not in your niche, that are doing some really great things on YouTube, and see what they're doing. Maybe do some commentary videos on some viral videos on YouTube. That's a huge way today that people are growing. Somebody says basically follow the wave and add your own flavor to it. Yes, That's huge. But a lot, you don't want to ignore that. You don't want to ignore the wave. You don't want to consistently be uploading videos and sticking to your schedule and then ignoring, not ignoring per se, but just not capitalizing on, because she's doing exactly this. Her name is Blair Walnut, and she literally did a video last week on Shane Dawson. He did some to do with Chuck E. Cheese. I don't know if any of you guys had watched that video, but he did some video about Chuck E. Cheese, and she did a kind of a response video to that. She did something similar, but she obviously used his name and the title and all that. That video in the last week got 7 million views, and she has grown 300,000 subscribers. So much power in taking advantage of this platform, YouTube, that allows you to essentially ride the wave of some of these incredible YouTube creators. So, okay. So let me see what are you guys saying about trends? Are you guys, does this resonate with you guys? Are you guys finding that you're doing a lot of trends? Okay. Do you know what? I just realized I have to take a little, I have to grab my computer's about. Oh, my bad. I've got to go grab my charger. I will be right back. Okay. Just leave in the comments what you guys think so far, and I will get to it when I get back. Okay, you guys, don't laugh at me. Where's my charger? It's here. Hashtag live streaming. It's probably never happened before on a TubeBuddy, so I apologize. Okay, I'm like, where is my charger? All right, guys. So video is really doing really well. Here's the thing about trends is that us to be inauthentic and just chase a trend for the sake of chasing a trend. Okay, so it has to resonate with your audience. It has to make sense, and you don't want to have it to be inauthentic. But if it really makes sense for your audience, then talking about, say, other YouTube videos that are going viral, reaction videos, and talking about those type of things can really literally grow your channel overnight. I've seen it with my clients. They've literally gone from 1,000 subscribers to 40,000 subscribers in a matter of weeks by really paying attention to what's going on YouTube and really paying attention to what other people are talking about. But it has to, I want to put the disclaimer though, it really has to make sense with your audience and with your tribe. And in a lot of ways, what you're doing is you are giving people content that they didn't know that they wanted, but that you know that they want, right? You know your people so well, you know your niche so well that you are bringing these interesting, say, other YouTube creators and commenting on them and all that and bringing that to them. So, all right, what's hello from Texas. All right. Okay. So the next thing that a big mistake that I see people doing is that they are ignoring the metric of the average view duration. So how many of you guys here who's live right now? We have over 100 people that are live, which is amazing. How many of you guys pay attention to this metric or even know what this metric is? So the average view duration basically is the percentage viewed of your videos. And this metric is probably the most important metric when it comes to your YouTube channel. If you don't like looking at analytics, and I know it, a lot of my clients don't, they say, I don't even want to look at them. That's why they have me do it. But if you don't like analytics, I'm telling you, you have to pay attention to this metric, the average view duration. So this metric is essentially telling YouTube how good your video is. So for example, if people are only watching, say, 20% of your videos, I'm sorry, 20% of each of your videos, that is sending a very strong signal to YouTube that this video isn't very good. But on the other hand, if your average view duration is something like 60, 70, 80%, meaning that on average that people are watching about 70% of this particular video, that's also sending a very strong signal to YouTube that this is really good content, right? So if you're not paying attention to this metric, you don't know really how good your content is. So it's super, super important that you pay attention to this metric and that it's like your Bible here on YouTube. And so if you're not doing that, you're really missing out. And, a couple other notes about your average view duration is that if consistently people are only watching 20% of your videos, 30% of your videos, YouTube is not going to further push those videos out in as recommended or as suggested. And one of the strategies that's working really, really well today is, yes, you do want to rank, but most importantly, you want YouTube to be suggesting your videos against other very popular videos and other very popular YouTube creators. That is actually one of the best strategies today to get your channel out there and really get more and more viewers on your channel. But that's only going to happen if you're creating good content. Obviously, it comes down to creating good content. But one way that you can know that if you're creating good content is if your average view duration is consistently at least 50 to 60%. YouTube wants to keep people on their platform. And YouTube's ultimate goal is to keep people there as long as possible. And so that is why they kind of have this whole customized viewing experience because they want people, they're recommending videos to people individually based on a bunch of different metrics, hoping that they're videos that they like. But they're only going to recommend and push out videos that, the YouTube AI is seeing that is actually worthy to push out or, has this average view duration that's high. It's not going to take a chance on pushing out a video that only has a 20 or 30% average view duration. So let me know if you guys have questions about that. It's a super, super important point that I really want to make sure that you guys go home with. So see some of your comments here. All right. We've got a lively group this morning. I love it. And let's see, Playworthy says it's important because this is how much interest your viewers have on your video. Yeah. And so that's your signal of like, okay, well, they were only watching about 20% of my videos, and you can do the analytics and see exactly where that drop off happens. What are you doing? What can you do differently? So there's a lot. There's a lot there. Life After TV Production says it's difficult when you have a 2-hour video of a paranormal investigation, but it's important to keep all the footage to keep it real. Yeah, but I'm sure. I don't know your channel. I haven't been onto your channel, Life After TV Productions. And thank you for that comment. But one thing that I want to point out is if on average you're only getting a 10% average view duration, I'm not saying you are, but I'm saying, for example, then you almost want to rethink your entire approach to what you're doing. Maybe you don't do it 2 hours. I don't know. But you do. I mean, I'm sure your watch time is pretty good, which is great, but you do want to pay attention to, well, how much are people really watching? If they're not watching all that, then maybe you rethink your approach. Or also, yes, and TubeBuddy says suggestions also based on click-through rate. Yeah, and that's why I already talked about click-through rate. Two metrics, I would say that if you're not going to pay attention to your analytic and you say, I'm not a numbers person, I'm a creative, I'm going to go out there and I create. I don't want to look at my analytics. Then the only two metrics that you need to really pay attention to are your click-through rate and your average view duration. So, okay, so let's move on to the next point. The next point is, and this is a big one. This is one that I talk about all the time. This is one where I work with my clients. We spend like our first session digging deep on this. In my boot camp, we spend an entire week on this, but it's understanding your why. Why are you on YouTube? And I want to get a little bit deep with you guys here. It's not so much to say, oh, yeah, I love it. It's fun. It's an outlet. Great. But I'm assuming you're here watching this live, you're here watching the replay because you really want to make this YouTube thing a go, right? You are serious about this. You see a vision of yourself being a YouTube influencer or being a somebody out there who is making a difference with their YouTube channel. And if that's the case, then ultimately YouTube is in a way a means to an end. It's a vehicle. It's a vehicle so that you can share your message. It's a vehicle so that you can actually fulfill your life's dream of having an impact or whatever it is. So then what you want to do is really think about and be able to articulate exactly what that is and write it out. Like I said, in my bootcamp, we spend the entire week talking about your why, what fuels you, what is your driver, what gets you to create content tirelessly without getting paid, right? At the beginning, most of us are not getting paid to be putting up content. So what is fueling you? And it's so important to have a connection to that, because otherwise, if you show up to film and you just don't think about it or you forget about it and you've had a long day and you are tired and you're set up and you're like, oh, I just need a film. I have to upload, I need a film. You're going to show up to your audience like that, right? You're going to show up to your audience disconnected and tired. Whereas if you're in that same situation, but you've articulated your why, you've written it out and you have it somewhere. I always tell people, have it out there right near your camera, have it out there on your wall, have it out there in your filming space, whatever it is, and reference it. Read it to yourself, yell it out loud 10 times before you start filming to get yourself in the mood, because it's so important. I'm going to talk about it in my next point, but it's so important that you're showing up fueled by that passion that you had when you first started your YouTube channel. Right? YouTube is a lot of work. And I'm never one to come up here and say, hey guys, follow my 3 tips and you're going to have a YouTube channel like it's 100,000 subscribers. I mean, it's not going to happen. I know that because I work with so many people, but success on YouTube does happen. And there's that possibility and it's exciting. And you want to always come to filming with that level of passion and that level of excitement. And that only comes from a true and deep understanding of why you're doing what you're doing. Okay, so let's see what you guys are saying. You guys want to teach other people how to make money. The thought of getting paid fulfills you. Yeah, Laura, but I actually want to challenge you for thinking beyond that, because there's a lot of different ways in life that are a lot easier to make money. I mean, if you guys agree with that, let me know, because there's a lot of easier ways to make money out there. So there has to be something deeper that is fueling you to put in this time and energy to creating this YouTube channel. Do I believe that YouTube is a huge opportunity and where you can get your message heard to millions around the world? Yes, but it doesn't start that way. So there's something that really has got to be fueling and Laura, be lighting that fire underneath you, other than just making money. Addicted to Profit says you want to help people make a 6-figure income. That's amazing. C. Butler says, love my energy. Thank you. Okay, let's see what else. You mass produce your content. And that's the thing too, is that a lot of people will batch film. I know that a lot of you and like a lot of the people that I work with, you guys have jobs, you guys are parents, you guys have a lot going on in your life, right? And so you batch film. You're filming 3 or 4 videos at a time. And after, say, that 3rd video, you're just like, oh, you're tired, you're exhausted, you're just wanting to get it over with. But you have to bring it for every single one of your videos. You have to come out with an enthusiasm and an excitement and a passion for what you're doing, because that's the only way that's going to get people to draw into you and to follow you. Right? If you're not connected to why you do what you do, how can you expect other people that are watching you to connect with you if you're disconnected with yourself? So knowing your why is huge. Okay, now the last point is that your videos are boring. So, and it kind of goes with some of the other points that I'm talking about, but one of the reasons why your channel isn't growing is that possibly maybe your videos are boring. So, I want you guys to think about a couple things. YouTube is a medium that people come to, yes, learn about things, but also to be entertained at the same time. And it's so crucial that you have an entertainment factor in your videos. People don't want to just learn on YouTube. If they want to learn something quickly, they'll just Google it and read a blog or something. If somebody's on YouTube, more than likely, they're expecting to be entertained. And I think what happens is that a lot of people say, well, I'm giving value, I'm giving value. So they throw up a ton of information and then they forget about this entertainment component. And it's the YouTube creator that's able to marry entertainment with information that is able to achieve massive success on YouTube. Take Peter McKinnon, right? He is so entertaining to watch. He's got that energy, he's got the enthusiasm, but obviously he's an incredible filmmaker, but he's also providing a ton of value. And he's grown like wildfire. It's people like that understand this nuance between information and entertainment that really can take advantage of this incredible platform, YouTube. So I want you to start thinking about how can you bring more entertainment to your videos. And that's where that metric I was talking about, the average view duration. If your average view duration is low, it's probably a strong signal that your videos are boring, right? I'm just going to just throw it out there that your video is boring. People are like, I'm over it, right? I'm going to go next one. And you have to start thinking like, okay, how can I up the entertainment factor? And a few ways that you can do it. One is it starts with you, right? My motto is you build your YouTube channel from the inside out. That's why I had the topic on connecting with your why. When you connect with your why, that's when that passion, that driver starts really kind of bubbling beneath the surface. And you really want to connect with that why every single time you film, because you want to tap into that enthusiasm so it's bubbling right there on the surface, so that by the time you show up to film, you are pumped, you are ready, you are excited, and that energy gets transferred through the camera. Because YouTube is about a transfer of energy. You got to transfer that energy to the viewer so that they feel something. If you're flat, if you're disconnected, you're not going to have enough enthusiasm, excitement, passion, whatever it is, to transfer. And it doesn't have to be super enthusiastic. You know, some people out there are naturally very enthusiastic, very outgoing, but some people are not. But there's still magnetism that is necessary to have that connection with your audience. So maybe you're a little bit more reserved, but you're still passionate, you're still connected, and there's still that charisma and magnetism that gets transferred through the camera to the audience. So part of that entertainment factor does have to do with you. It has to do with how you show up. Second part obviously has to do with the actual content, right? The filming of it, the setup, the lighting, the editing, the transitions, the music, the B-roll, all that stuff, right? All that stuff that Peter McKinnon teaches about. So you have to start thinking, how can you bring entertainment into your videos? If you have an average view duration of 60, 70, 80%, great. You're probably already doing that. But if it's lower than that, you really want to think, okay, how can I get people engaged? How can I get people watching? So, all right. We got a lot of comments here. But that's it. That's what I've got for you guys. Those are the 7 reasons why I find, for the most part, people are not growing. So I will review them with you very quickly. The first is that you're operating out of fear. You're allowing fear to cripple you and to not actually become that visionary that you can be to create incredible content on YouTube. So 1, you're operating out of fear. 2, your thumbnails suck. You're not putting enough time and energy into your thumbnails, and therefore your click-through rate is low. 3 is your titles suck, or they're not emotionally compelling And so same thing, your click-through rate is low and people aren't watching your videos. 4 is that you are ignoring trends and you're not capitalizing and taking advantage of trends that are going on YouTube and also trends that are going on in real life. This is another thing I want to point out about trends, that if a trend is happening in your niche, outside, in real life, and nobody's talking about it on YouTube, that's a great opportunity for you to be talking about that on YouTube. And so being aware of the trends that are going on YouTube and outside of YouTube, and even being one of the first people to go onto YouTube to talk about a topic that people are talking about in your niche, out in real life. So trends is number 4. Number 5 is not paying attention to your average view duration. Number 6 is being disconnected and essentially not connecting with the why that drives you to be here on YouTube. And number 7 is ignoring that entertainment factor of YouTube, or your videos are boring. So, okay, that's what I've got for you guys. And I really wanted to keep it simple, and I really wanted to keep it so it's something that you can actually start thinking differently about the way that you approach your channels and you approach the way that you create content. And so I hope this was helpful for you guys. I love coming on here. I apologize for the brief intermission of me having to get my charger. I was so pumped with what I was going to talk about today that I forgot. I was like, oh my God, where's my charger? Even though my charger was right here and I didn't need to go into the other room to go and find it. So you guys, thank you so much. I have to say, TubeBuddy has such an incredible community of creators, and I am just thrilled and honored to be a part of it. Thank you, Andrew, for moderating. And if you guys want more of me, I will be back here, in a couple months. And also, you can check out my podcast. I upload weekly. I have this past week, I interviewed Skinny Confidential, Lauren Everts. I have so many different amazing guests on there. So it's called the YouTube Power Hour Podcast. You can find it on iTunes, Stitcher, Spotify. I'm on Spotify. I'm also have my YouTube boot camp, and I also have a free niche workbook if you want to sign up for that. If you just want to go through an exercise to help you really define your niche, I'll have Andrew put the link in the description, and you can get that free. It's like a 6-page workbook, and my website is erikavieira.net for everything else. All right, guys, have an amazing rest of your day, and just kill it with your YouTube channels. I love that you're here. I love that you're taking the time on a Wednesday to hang out with me and to just hang out with other amazing creators and invest in yourself, and just go out there and kill it. All right, guys. Bye. And comment below also which of the 7 things that really resonated with you that you're now going to approach differently after listening to this call. And give it a thumbs up if you like it. Okay, bye. Am I still here? Why is this not ending? Okay.